Good morning. I'd like you all to get to know me a little bit better. My name is Sharon Freundlich Elgarin. My parsha is Tazria Mitzora, which I feel very privileged to have that under my foundation. Because for me, that parsha has the idea of Mesiras Nefesh. I believe in life that at times you have to, as we say, race for the sake of the Torah. I literally did race. It was the year 1999, and people asked me, why did I run the Grand Prix series? What motivated me? In my case, it was Mesiras Nefesh. I had no running history. I had no background. Well, negligible background, because I did another one back in 1998 for the sake of raising money for tzedakah. But other than that, I had no history. My sister's husband was dying of cancer, and I saw something that said Grand Prix series, and that there was a prize of $19,800. I knew it was a long shot because I knew you had to acquire points and whatever else. But I said either it's Hashem's will or it's not. So I trained on a stationary bike in the comfort of my home. I used whatever equipment was available at the job before anyone came to work, with permission, of course. And I did all of these races back to back. 15Ks, which are 9.3 miles, half marathons, which are 13.1 miles, and of course the 30K, 18.6 miles. And everything was going beautifully. The speeds, everything was fantastic. Of course, towards the end, I was in a motor vehicle accident, and I dropped out. And then the Metropolitan Athletic Congress contacted me, and they told me, you ranked 15th in New York State. Why would you stop now? You only had 2 more races to complete the series, and we would have paid you. I said, don't you have to run quickly to acquire points to complete the series? They said, in your case, you could have crawled. I had no idea. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know the guidelines. Well, the same concept sort of applies to Torah. A lot of times people want to know what's in it for them. What is the reward for this item? What is the reward for that item? What is the accomplishment for this mitzvah? What is it? What is it in return? We're often told in Pirkei Avos, we should serve Hashem as a master serves his king without expecting anything in return. In the case of Torah, yes, you need to race for it. You need to run for it. Forget about if there is or there isn't a so-called list or a reward. I think you should see the Torah as a reward in itself, because as you study it, as you read it, you will discover that refinement of your character will occur if you decide to be selfless about it, if you decide you want to delve into it, and if you're willing to sacrifice for it, whether it be through not just the time, through money, and possibly through sharing with others, because there are various levels in life, as we've learned even in the holiday of Pesach when we encounter the 4 sons. Everyone has a different level of acquisition of knowledge. No one's level should ever be negated, but the point is, if you want something, you have to be willing to work for it. You have to be willing to sacrifice for it, and you have to be willing to do what you need to do. You have to be willing to race for it. Even if you feel like you have no capability, even if you feel like it's not within your foundation. In my case, running was not a possibility to my foundation. I was born with dislocated hips. I was born with one leg longer than the other. So already that is not a foundation for having any type of sports capability in terms of the field of running. You need to at least have neutral alignment, so to speak, or not excessive weight bearing on the inner and outer parts of your foot to really be able to do things. But I find that when you want to do something for a selfless reason, for whatever reason, Hashem blesses it more, and a way is found. So if you really wish to acquire Torah, I think what we need to do is forget about rewards and forget about what could possibly be handed out to you. But look at the Torah as a reward in itself. Look at it as a privilege to spend time with Hashem in another way. We spend time with Hashem when we daven. We spend time with Hashem through our deeds, good, bad, and indifferent. And we spend time with Hashem when we talk with Him even in our own way. Hashem's line is never busy. What we have to do is be willing to race for Him, to try to acquire Him, so to speak, and to keep jumping. Because if you keep jumping and you keep racing, eventually Hashem will lift you up. And for me, that was the message of 1999. I might not have accomplished the task. I might not have raised that money for my sister. But the point is, I did sacrifice and the foundation was paved. because as a result, it opened up arenas for other lines of work for me, and as a result, I was able to raise money and help her in other ways, whether it was through visiting her, and as I saw her bills on her counter, just very nicely swiping them, paying them, and then telling her later that she no longer has to worry about them, as I took a few here and there off of her counter. She doesn't realize year to date that they didn't, so to speak, did or didn't exist. Some of them I told her about, and some of them I didn't say anything. She simply got a statement that said zero balance, and she figured, oh, the bill must have been forgiven. It wasn't forgiven. I took it. I raced at the opportunity to help someone in their time of need. It's very hard in this day and age to achieve. It's very hard in this day and age to acquire. But the point is, in the areas of Torah and the areas of good, if you wish to do, if you wish to acquire, you will be able to do and you will be able to acquire. Because it's through selflessness, it's through self-sacrifice, it's through the willingness to do and to give and to share, that you can then build yourself and build others, and then eventually you build each other up, and you become greater and greater and greater, and you accomplish. So all of you should take the opportunity to race and forget about what it's written in terms of what reward you will get. What you should think about is that you're here. We are all servants of Hashem. We are all here to serve Him unconditionally, just as He gives to us unconditionally. He doesn't count every little thing and then give us accordingly, because if He did, I don't think any of us would have much of anything. He gives to us unconditionally every day. He is generous with us. And yes, while He does do things measure for measure, He gives us beyond our wildest dreams. We just don't take a moment to take a look and to reflect upon this. In my case, it was a wonderful gift and a wonderful opportunity to even get to show up and to compete against all of those people, even if I didn't obtain the money at the end. I know that because I put everything into it, it was for a selfless reason, that it was perhaps the miracle that I had a 7-minute category for an 18.6-mile race. A person with dislocated hips, a leg discrepancy, and let's not forget the curvature in my spine. I could add to the list, but that would be a very long video. But the point is, selflessness does lay the foundation to be able to rise above nature. And I trusted in God to help me through all situations, and I still trust in Him. And I know if tomorrow I had to race and I had to run, somehow, some way, I would be able to do it. Because it would no longer be for materialism. It would not be for all kinds of selfish items. It would be exclusively for raising money for tzedakah, and this way being able to share and help others. So today, seize your opportunity. Race for the stars. Try to become the best person that you can be, spiritually, and if you need to strengthen yourself physically to prepare for your spiritual work, then now your running and your exercise has become a means to an end, and you've just elevated your avoda to avodas Hashem. So for me, run a few minutes, get your circulation going, and then afterwards, take out a spiritual work of your choice and see if you don't all of a sudden study at an even better pace. And perhaps you might see a new chiddush that you can then write and share with others. And as a result, your exercise, your sip of coffee, all your activities have become elevated l'shem shamayim for the sake of the Torah. And it does lay a foundation for a positive day. So all of you, seize the opportunity. Race for the Torah. Delve into it. Enjoy it. Sweat over it. Talk over it. And you will find that in all planes of your life, doors will open because you have allowed yourself to expand and become greater. Greater in a modest perspective. Greater in an area of content. Greater in areas that are important. And there is no greater race in life than the acquisition of the Torah, if you intend to use it for proper means. With that, I wish you all a wonderful week. Shavua Tov, and seize the day to be the best that you can be, l'shem shamayim.